Some secrets don't begin with choices. They begin with confusion. And sometimes you spend years trying to understand whether what happened to you shaped who you are, or simply shaped how you learn to survive. My name is Lucas Bennett. And this is the story I carried for most of my life before I finally understood it. Lucas Bennett grew up in a quiet neighborhood in Chicago. Not rich, not struggling, just a normal middle-class family trying their best. His father, David Bennett, worked long hours as a mechanic, a quiet man who showed love through responsibility more than words. His mother, Angela Bennett, was warm but practical, always focused on keeping the family steady. Lucas wasn't an only child. He had an older sister, Maya Bennett. Maya was confident, outspoken, protective. Lucas was quieter, sensitive, observant. If anyone ever truly saw me growing up, it was Maya. The Bennett home was filled with ordinary love, Sunday dinners, movie nights, laughter echoing down the hallway. And there was someone else who was almost always around. His father's longtime friend, Victor Hale. Victor wasn't a stranger. He was trusted. He helped with repairs, came over for dinner, sometimes drove Lucas home from school. To everyone else, he was family. To Lucas, he felt safe, and that's why I never questioned anything. At first, Lucas was 9 when the boundary was crossed. Not violently, not suddenly, slowly, confusingly. Victor framed everything as affection, something special between them. Lucas didn't understand sex. He didn't know boys could be violated. At first, it felt strange. Then confusing. Victor would whisper, "This just means I care about you. It's our secret." Lucas didn't resist because he didn't understand what he was resisting. That's what confusion looks like in a child. Sometimes he felt uncomfortable, sometimes numb, sometimes oddly special. He never told his parents, not because he was hiding something, but because he didn't have words. The hardest part wasn't what happened. It was not knowing what it meant. Lucas carried the confusion quietly. He wondered, is this normal? Is this what growing up feels like? Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Victor moved away for work and slowly disappeared from their lives. No explanation, no closure, just silence. Lucas thought the feeling would disappear too. But silence doesn't erase confusion, it lets it grow. By middle school, Lucas began noticing something. When boys talked about girls, he felt nothing. But when he looked at certain boys, he felt nervous, aware, curious. That realization scared him. Am I like this because of what happened, or because this is who I am? The question followed him everywhere. He became quieter, withdrawn. His mother noticed the change. Is everything okay? She would ask gently. Lucas always said yes, because he still didn't understand what he would explain. By high school, Lucas knew he was different. Lucas sat stiffly in the chair, hands clenched together, eyes glued to the carpet. Across from him sat Mrs. Ramirez, the school counselor, her voice calm and steady like a quiet ocean. "Lucas, you don't have to tell me everything today. Just start with what feels safe." Silence filled the room. Then finally, barely above a whisper, he spoke. "I think something is wrong with me." Mrs. Ramirez leaned forward slightly. "Nothing about you is wrong. You've been through something painful. And pain doesn't define who you are." Lucas felt tears sting his eyes for the first time in years. What Lucas would confess next would change how he saw himself forever. "When I was 9, someone hurt me. And ever since, I've been confused about who I am." Mrs. Ramirez nodded slowly. "What happened to you was not your fault. And your identity, whether you identify as part of the LGBTQ community or not, is something you discover, not something caused by trauma." Lucas looked up, surprised. "No one has ever said that to me before." Maya noticed long before anyone else. One night, she sat beside him. "Luke, you don't have to pretend with me." That night, Lucas told her everything. About Victor. The confusion. The feelings. Maya didn't react with shock. Only compassion. "You were a child. None of that was your fault." That moment lifted years of silence. Later that week, Lucas returned to Mrs. Ramirez. "I told my sister. She didn't run away." Mrs. Ramirez smiled warmly. "That's a powerful step. You're building your support system." Over time, Lucas's parents noticed something too. He never brought girls home. Only male friends. His mother would ask gently, "Is there someone special?" Lucas would laugh it off. But privately, his parents began having quiet conversations, not out of judgment, but concern. Lucas attended New York University in New York City. College opened a world he never knew existed. He met openly LGBTQ students, joined conversations, listened to stories like his. For the first time, identity felt like exploration instead of fear. Lucas realized something powerful. His trauma didn't define him, but silence shaped how he understood himself. With Maya's support, Lucas told his mother. She wasn't shocked. "I've always known you were carrying something, I just didn't know what." When he told her about Victor, her heartbreak was immediate, not anger, but pain she hadn't seen. That moment brought healing. Lucas never fully answered whether the trauma influenced his orientation. But he understood something deeper. Identity is complex. Healing is personal. Who you become is never defined by one moment. Before I knew the word LGBTQ, I only knew confusion. Today, I know acceptance. And I know that healing begins when silence ends. If you're carrying questions about who you are not alone. Coming out was supposed to set Lucas free, but freedom has a way of revealing the truths we're not ready to face. Lucas is now more confident living openly as a gay man. He builds friendships, starts dating, and begins to feel emotionally stable. But healing isn't linear. He still has nightmares and moments of doubt. Just when Lucas thought he was finally moving forward, the past found its way back. One evening, his phone buzzed. It was Maya. Her voice sounded hesitant. "Luke, I didn't want you to hear this from anyone else." Lucas felt his stomach tighten. "What is it?" She paused. "Victor is back in town. Back home in Chicago." The words hit like cold air. "Apparently he's been sick," Maya added. "He moved into a small apartment nearby." Lucas didn't know what to say. Memories he had carefully boxed away began pushing to the surface. Lucas thought he had buried that chapter, but some chapters don't stay closed. For days, Lucas couldn't focus. He kept asking himself the same question. Do I confront him? Part of him wanted answers. Part of him wanted distance. He spoke to friends, trying to make sense of the emotions swirling inside him. Anger, curiosity, fear, and something unexpected, compassion. Because healing had changed how he saw the world. Still, the thought of seeing Victor again made his chest tighten. Late one night, Lucas called Maya. "I think I need to come home." Back in Chicago, the Bennett house felt familiar yet different. His mother hugged him tightly, sensing the weight he carried. His father was quieter than usual, guilt still lingering beneath the surface. Over dinner, Lucas finally said it. "I want to see him." Silence filled the room. His father looked down, voice heavy. "I should have protected you." Lucas reached across the table. "This isn't about blame. It's about closure." Maya nodded in support, but everyone understood. This decision would reopen wounds. Sometimes closure means walking back into the hardest room you've ever left. Victor's apartment was small and quiet. When he opened the door, he looked older. Fragile. Lucas felt a rush of emotions, memories colliding with the present. Victor's voice trembled. "I didn't think you'd ever want to see me." Lucas took a steady breath. "I'm not here for apologies. I'm here so you don't exist as a shadow in my life anymore." They sat across from each other. Lucas spoke calmly, not as a child, but as someone who had reclaimed his voice. "What happened shaped how I saw myself for years. But it doesn't define who I am." Victor whispered, "I'm sorry." Lucas realized something in that moment. Closure wasn't about hearing those words. It was about realizing he had already taken his power back. And for the first time, Lucas felt completely free. When Lucas walked out of the apartment, he felt lighter. Not because the past changed, but because he had faced it. Back home, his parents listened quietly as he described the meeting. His mother held his hand. "You're stronger than you know," she said. His father's eyes filled with tears, pride replacing guilt. Returning to school, Lucas felt clarity he had never known before. He understood something deeply. His identity wasn't created by trauma. But healing required facing it. He became more active in LGBTQ support groups, sharing his story with others who felt alone. Lucas narrates, "I used to think closure meant changing the past. But closure is really about changing how much power the past has over you. I don't have all the answers about identity or why life unfolds the way it does, but I know this: healing begins when you stop running. If you're carrying a story that still hurts, you're not alone. And your past may shape you, but it never has to define you. But Lucas's journey isn't over, because finding his voice would soon lead him somewhere he never expected. Healing isn't a destination, it's a journey of courage. I am Lucas Bennett, and after confronting my past, I realized the hardest part of my story wasn't facing trauma, it was sharing my truth with the world. Because speaking your truth can change not only your life, but someone else's too. Lucas returned to New York University, but he was different. No longer just a student trying to survive emotionally, he carried a mission. To use his voice, to help others who felt invisible. He joined LGBTQ support groups, sharing parts of his story that he had never spoken aloud. At first, it was terrifying. What if they judge me? What if I'm too vulnerable? But every time he spoke, someone in the room nodded, smiled, or cried with him. He realized, this isn't just about me. It's about everyone who's been silenced. And it was here that Lucas realized speaking out could be scarier, but more powerful than hiding ever was. Lucas was invited to speak at a small local LGBTQ event in New York City. His hands shook. The room was filled with students, advocates, and survivors. He stepped up to the podium and took a deep breath. When I was 9 years old, someone I trusted hurt me, and for years, I thought that defined who I was, he began. He told the audience about his journey, the confusion, the silence, the coming out, and the confrontation with Victor Hale. At first, he struggled with words. But as he spoke, the fear melted. He looked up and saw faces listening intently, nodding in understanding, smiling with encouragement. He realized, this is the power of truth. And in that moment, Lucas knew, his voice was bigger than his fear. Lucas began recording short videos sharing his story for social media. He didn't hold back. He spoke about childhood trauma, identity, LGBTQ struggles, and healing. The videos went viral. Comments poured in. I never thought I'd hear someone say what I've felt my whole life. Thank you for giving me hope. Lucas realized. He wasn't just telling his story, he was building a community. But with visibility came challenges. Criticism, judgment, misunderstanding. People questioned whether trauma caused him to be gay. Lucas responded calmly. Trauma shaped my past, but my identity is mine. Healing helped me find my voice, not define who I am. Despite public attention, Lucas always returned home to his family. Maya remained his pillar, always reminding him of the child he once was and the man he had become. His mother, Angela Bennett, now openly advocated for him in her community. His father, David Bennett, grew proud of Lucas's courage, attending his events and even helping with public talks. Yet, Lucas faced new challenges. Invitations to speak at national events. Media interviews about sensitive topics. Personal attacks online. Each step tested his confidence, but Lucas learned a crucial truth. Impact often comes with discomfort. Speaking your truth means stepping into the spotlight, even when it's scary. Lucas began mentoring younger LGBTQ students, helping them navigate identity, trauma, and self-acceptance. He spoke at high schools, universities, and community centers, emphasizing, your past doesn't define your future. He met teens who reminded him of himself at age 15, confused, silent, searching. One student said softly, I didn't think I'd ever feel safe talking about this. Lucas realized. This was the reason he survived. Helping others heal healed him even more. Lucas gave a major speech at a national LGBTQ conference. He shared the full arc of his story. Childhood trauma, silence, coming out, confronting Victor, and finally finding his voice. Standing on stage, he felt proud. Proud of surviving. Proud of speaking. Proud of helping others. The audience erupted in applause. And Lucas finally understood. Healing is public, but it also transforms private pain into universal hope. Lucas narrates. Some stories don't end with answers. They end with understanding. For years, I believed my silence was protecting me. But silence has a way of growing heavier. Until one day, I realized it's not protecting me at all, it's holding me back. Healing didn't come all at once. It came in small moments. In difficult conversations. In tears I never thought I would allow myself to cry. I learned that identity isn't something you rush to define. It's something you discover. Gently, honestly, and in your own time. And maybe that's the truth for all of us. We are not just the things that happen to us. We are the choices we make after. The courage we find within. And the love we allow ourselves to accept. My story isn't just about pain. It's about resilience. It's about finding light in places that once felt impossibly dark. It's about learning that being different isn't something to fear. It's something to understand. Somewhere out there, someone is still carrying a story they've never told. Someone is still wondering if they'll ever feel understood. Someone is still searching for the courage to be fully seen. If that someone is you, know this. You are not broken. You are not alone. And your story is still unfolding. Because healing doesn't erase the past. It transforms how we carry it. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply keep going. If you're carrying a story you've been afraid to share, remember, your voice matters. Healing begins when silence ends, and courage begins when you speak. Lucas's story may be ending, but the conversation doesn't stop here. Because somewhere out there, someone is still searching for the courage to be themselves. If this story moved you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it. You never know who might need to hear it today.